Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this one, I want to show you how to configure MHN server, what is called the modern Honey network uh, in an Azure environment. We are going to use complete Azure virtual machines to set up everything, including agent deployment, alerts, and we'll also look at the map. So what I'm talking about is this open source project. And MHN full form is the Modern Honey Network, as I told you. It's a centralized server for management and data collection of honey pots. So you can deploy these sensors in multiple different places and you can collect data immediately, okay, viewable from a neat web interface. To make this lab easy, I'm just going to use one machine right now. In the server, we're going to install the server. In the same server, we're going to install a couple of agents. The agents is really the honeypots, and we're going to use the cowrie and the dione. And I'll show you how to install the other agents so you can test the others as well. The installation steps in here is also pretty detailed. There are a couple things I think would be useful in an Azure environment. So I created another page in my GitHub account and I'm gonna just follow this. So the first thing you need to configure when you want to configure MHN or Honey network, modern Honey network, I got this name wrong, so I need to fix that one. What you need to create a virtual machine, and the recommendation is use 18.04. You can use anything that is more recent, but it may not work. So right now, as per this direction, you will see that Ubuntu 18.04 or 16 and or CentOS 6.9 is now supported and tested. Okay, so we're just gonna start and follow this installation guide. So what we'll do, let's go to Azure. I'm gonna create a resource and let's create a wall from here. Just say virtual machine. Okay, virtual machines, and here I'm going to create a virtual machine and I am going to call it new resource group. Create a new resource group, call it MHN RG. Okay, that is where we're gonna install MHN server is what we're gonna use, and here let's use it in East US. I'm not gonna go with any other availability and things like that. I'm gonna make sure that it's Ubuntu 18.04, and here I want to give it a little bit of more memory. So you could go with the 8 gigs. For this one, I'm just gonna go with 16. I have used 8 gigs and it will do just fine. If you go with the 3.5 gigs, it will be cheaper, but you know, the installation may go a little slow. So for this demo, I am going to go and use maybe this one is fine. Two virtual cores and 16 gigs of memory. I'm gonna use this one. Password. Let's just use tool and a secure password. And I'm going to open port 22. I'm also just going to open ATN and HTTPS port 443. In this video, we are not going to configure HTTPS, but I'll give you resources that you can use if you want to run this particular server UI on a with HTTLS or SSL enabled. You can do that. And over here for the disk, I'm just gonna add a new disk and add this disk. Okay, and just hit OK. It will have 1024 gigs available to me. Networking, I'm gonna go with what we have. That is fine for now, and I'm gonna go with the default options for rest of them. Hit review and create, and once the validation is successful, I'm gonna hit create, and that will deploy this virtual machine for me. So let's go back over here. So we have done this step, we have just created a virtual machine. Right now, if you notice, we have opened port 22, port 80 and port 443. Okay, we would, in addition to this port, we would also need port 3000 and 10,000 open. 3000 is where the map is hosted, and 10,000 is something else. When it talking to the agents, that port is used by the MHN server, so we're going to open that port as well as soon as we have the server available to me. So let's see what is going on. So it's deploying, and these days this deployment literally takes less than a minute, so it should go very fast, and hopefully I don't have to stop the deployment or pause it. So since it's taking time, let me just pause it for a second. Alright, it will literally pause probably 15 seconds or so. So deployment is now done, and I can click on this big blue go to resource button to go to my server. And as I said, I'm gonna go to the networking and look at the inbound port rules, and if you see, I have 22, 80 and 443 open, but I do need a couple more ports. And what I'll do, I'll just keep source any to source port range any, destination any. You can keep it this particular IP if you like, private IP. I'm just going to keep it any for now, and I'm just going to open the port 3000. This is probably not very good practice, but I'm just going to open 3000. For you, I would recommend just use the private IP of this particular port. And here I'm just opening this port 3000 and protocol any and allow, and I'm gonna say port 3000 for the rule name and hit add. So that would add that particular port. I need another port, so I'm gonna hit add again, any, and here 10,000 is the port number. Now this is very important, so this you make sure that you have these two ports available so you can access the UI and the agents can talk to each other. So again, over here I'm gonna say this is 10,000, and I'm gonna click add. Okay, this priority matches another, so let's just do 360 and hit add. And now it's creating that security rule as well. So once we have taken care of this security group and the ports that I wanted to open, we can go to the next phase. Okay, so you see I have 22 now open, 80 open, 443 open. These are for the web traffic. This is for the SSH connection. 300 and the 3000 and the 10,000, they're also added now. So we should be good to go. So come back to home maybe, and go back to the MHN server and look for the public IP address. This is what we're going to use to connect. So now I'm going to open a new window. I'm using a Ubuntu. If you're using a Windows or something, you gotta have a something that you can use to telnet. If you're using Mac, it should be good. You can use terminal. So over here I'm gonna write SSH and name of the user student, and I'm gonna paste the public IP address of my server. Okay, so that's 137.117.19.188. Hit enter, and I'm gonna say yes to that question that I get for whether I trust the server. Now I'm gonna provide my password, and that's it. So now I am inside this particular server, so I'm ready to move forward with my installation process. So we are pretty much done. We have opened all the ports, so we have to start with installing Git, because we would need Git to do cloning. If you want to just copy, you can. Alright, this one says that it is done. How is it done? So let's just go back over here. I just want to verify that I have the right server. Okay, so right server. Okay, right URL. Okay, just verify my Git is available. Yeah, Git is now available. So that's great. So now I have Git available to me. Next, come back. So next we're gonna go to the OPT folder, because when you install, that's the standard convention that you would, when you install additional software, you would be installing to the optional folder. Inside this folder we're gonna copy this repository, and there we go. Now it's copied. So if you do ls, mhn is the repository. We're gonna go inside this particular repository, and once we are there, we're gonna install, we're gonna run the install scripts. If you do ls, this is the script that we're gonna run. So sudo install.sh should install it. Now here I'm gonna pause for a second, and when it asks me the next question, I'll come back and restart the video. Okay, it's been about a minute. It's still, the installation is going on. I just want to show you that here you just want to be patient and let this go on, and it will pause in a couple of minutes. It will pause and ask whether you want to run this process in debug mode or not. Okay, and that's where you are gonna say no, I don't want to run it in debug mode, and you pretty much your instruction will come down to this, and you will say no to go to the next step. So let's see where we are. Okay, we are now at that step. Do you wish to run in debug mode? And I put it in my GitHub page as well. Let me just minimize that one. So you want to say no here. Supervisor email. Now this is a most important one. You gotta remember what you are putting it in. Okay, I'm just gonna use student@student.com for now, and a password, a secure password, and repeat the password. Oh, it didn't match. Hold on. Okay, now it matched. Alright, so server base URL, what you see, this IP, this is actually, server is intelligent and it's already picking up the public IP of my Azure instance. If you go back over here, this is the IP ending with 188, and if you see, this is also ending with 188, right? So so we are there. So server base URL, you don't need to do anything, just hit enter. Okay, here just enter. That means it will pick up that one. Okay. Honey map URL, as I said, it uses port 3000, so it's also picked up automatically. Just hit enter. Now mail server, really we don't need to configure anything here. Also you can go with the default, hit enter, port enter. Use TLS for email. For now I don't need to do it, so hit N and N. Mail server username, I don't need to configure anything right now. Mail server password, don't need to configure anything, and sender also don't need to configure anything else. Log file, also you go with the default, and that's pretty much it. So now over here, what it is going to do, it is going to download a whole bunch of rules, and these are really the snort rules, and it will have literally thousands, like tens of thousands of rules that can detect like website attack, WAF attack, many different kind of attacks. So that's what it's going to use to figure out who is trying to do what to your system. Now it may take up to 5 minutes, so what you will see that it will start saying, okay, 500 rules downloaded, then it will say 1000 rules downloaded, and usually I think it's downloaded in 500 in increments. At least that's how it prints the statement. So for here it said, okay, imported 500 rules. Now you see it said 100 rules so far. So I'll just be patient and give another 5 minutes to get this done, and once this done, we will log into the server and then configure and see what to do next. Alright everyone, we are here where it's now asking whether we want to integrate with Splunk, and as per our guide that we created, we're gonna say no, no, and no. It's not here as well although, but what we want to do, we are not going to integrate with Splunk at this time, not integrate with elk, and not like to add any rules to UFW. So no. and that should be it. And you should have a MHN server, modern Honey network server, that is up and running in your Azure environment. So what we are gonna do next, I'm gonna save this for now and go back and copy this IP again, and now I'm just gonna go, and since my port 80 is open, if I click on this one, now I have this UI where you can see welcome to the modern Honey Pot network server. Everything is running. So here I'm gonna try to remember my username that I created and the password, and let's see, login, and there we go. So pretty much you have now this modern Honey network server is now up and running. So but what do you see if you click on map? This is the map, and this is where your attacks and where the attacks are coming from, where it's going. All those information will show up in a visual manner. If you go to sensors, you see that I have no sensors available right now. So right now although I have a map, it's not really looking at anything. So when you click on the deploy, you can deploy many things. You can deploy your script, you can deploy a whole bunch of honeypots, and some of them are even IPS, IDS type of things. In this lab, we're going to look at the Dione, and if you click on that one, it will immediately give you the code that you need to deploy. We're just going to deploy this one to this particular server where we are running everything. So come back over here. We are still inside this MHN server. I'm gonna do sudo and hit enter, and that should install this particular agent in my server. While this is going on, I'm also going to click on deploy one more time, and I'm going to pick up the Cowrie. This is a good one if you want to monitor the SSH traffic and what people are trying to do. I'm going to copy this one, and let's see if this is done. As soon as this installation is done, I am going to install the other one as well. And as this is going on, if you come over here, click on the sensor, you still see there is nothing in here, but I promise once this installation is completed, you will see that the agent will show up in this particular page. So let's just wait for one more minute. It's almost 95% is now done, 98, 99, and there we go. Now it's building some stuff, and shouldn't take too long. As far as I remember, it was done in like less than a minute or so. So let's see, so it's there we go. So if I now come over here and refresh this, there we go. So you have that sensor, and it will tell you what is the sensor. So I'm on the sensors page right now. It's going to tell you where is the IP where your sensor is deployed. It will create a unique identifier, and it will tell you if there's any attack that it has registered or not. Okay, so go back over here, and it just say that Dione added process group. Over here I'm gonna now do Control A. We need to, I think I cannot run this one. I need to add a sudo. Hold on, what is going on? Okay, it's got stuck or something. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so now I got the for the Cowrie, the deploy command, I got it. I'm going to put it in my terminal window. I'm still inside the MHN server, and hopefully I'll be able to hit enter, and now it's installing the other server excuse me, at the moment for me. Okay, so over here you will see, if I go back to sensors, there is only one sensor, and while this is going on, let's see, so we have installed in this one 2 different sensors, like, and if you want, I would recommend that you go and play with some other sensors as well. You can also go to the charts, and there are some default charts that are available that are mostly based on the Cowrie, and when somebody is trying to log in using SSH and trying to exploit your password, it will show up in here, and you will see a lot of different graphs in here. So spend some time on that one. Rules, if you look at the rules, and as I told you, this is what took so long, and you have thousands and thousands of rules. Like if you come over here and you can kind of go through all those different rules, like it just got rules for the Trojan activities for here, attempted admin, web application attack, attempted user. So all kinds of rules are in here. Payloads. Right now Snort alert didn't give me any payloads, but you can see that it can capture different sensor can capture different type of payloads. Okay, so map, again map, I don't have any data, it just we deploy it, so it will probably take a little bit of time before you can start things in here once you have some data. So let's see what's going on with this. So looks like that other sensor is also deployed. So if I go back to sensor, I'm expecting two different, yeah, so it's saying that I have two different honeypot that I deployed that is managed by this MHN server, modern honey network server, and looks like this one Cowdy already got one SSH attempt in this one. So if I click on that one, it's telling me what is the IP that tried this attempt, okay, and when it generated that alert. So what also you can do, let's see, do I have nmap installed? I don't have nmap, so sudo install. This is probably non-needed apt install, so you gotta do apt and then hit enter, but I just have the nmap available, it's useful. What we'll try to do, we'll just try to crawl our web server IP and see if that generates any alerts at all. So we just clicked on it, and if you come back over here, back to sensors, I was expecting something maybe Diony picked up, it did not, which is fine. And over here, let's see, okay, and there is the UI, and I'm just not going to provide anything, just do another one. So so you can let this run now for a little bit, and I promise that you will see that your attacks will start to generate, and you will see your sensor will start to show some attacks. Just leave it for a couple hours or so. So what we'll do try a couple more things in here, and once this is done, we didn't use HTTPS on our server, so it's telling me that there's a problem, which is good. And okay, so just give it some time. This one still haven't picked up any kind of alerts yet. So you can also come back to this attack page over here. It's also going to tell you the top 5 attacks and top 5 attack ports and top 5 honeypots and the top 5 sensor. All of that data will be generated and will be placed in here. Before I end the video, I also did a quick nmap on that particular server. Okay, nmap and the server, and it looks like it also picked up as an attack, because typically you can also, like the attackers, they can also use nmap for port scanning and stuff like that. So it picked up quickly and said I have some attack that got generated. So I'm not sure that if I do it again, let's see what happens. So, and over here, come here and then refresh, and there we go. Yeah, so it's picking up that as an attack if I'm running nmap port scan on it. So I'm just gonna go back to view sensors one last time. So Kauri picked up some attack. Server has not yet, but I promise that if you run it for a little bit, it will also start picking up some alerts as well. So that's how you configure your MHN server on an Azure virtual machine and configure and deploy your sensors. If you like this video, please give me a like, subscribe, and be the honeypot expert. In the next video, what we'll do, and I just want to give you a flavor, there's another honeypot that I really like, and that is called the Teapot Honey Pot. And the interface that I have, that is very good. So I really like their interface, and they support even more number of honeypots than what is supported currently by the MHN. And if you look at it, some of the common that we deployed, Dione and Covery, they're also supported in here. The great thing about this one, I like their interface a lot. Okay, they have the elk, and the elk view, the UI is just wonderful. So in the next video, we'll go through and I'll show you how to get to that Kibana dashboard and have all of your honeypot network data in one place. So subscribe if you want to get to that video. Thank you.